Hello, hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space. A couple more cards using some of the other new products from Simon Says Stamps May 2025 release. I already posted a video using a couple things. I'll put that in the end screen at the end of this video in case you missed it. This time we're going to do some really simple stencil layering with a coordinating wafer die and background stamp, couple types of splatter. These could be very any occasion cards if you just switch up the sentiments and technically the background. We'll get to that. Anyway, as always, everything I used along with the new release itself, those will be listed and linked in the description box below the video. My links are affiliate links. That just means that if you click on one of my links and end up placing an order, I do get a little kickback from that at no extra cost to you. That is what helps keep the lights on, pay the bills, enables me to keep bringing out content. And yeah, let's get into making these cards. So I'm using the new Snake Plant layering stencil set and the coordinating die set. And I've got my really big grip mat. This is Simon's like 9x12 grip mat because my panels of cardstock are 6 inches square. And this is Simon's smooth white cardstock. And then I've got a variety of green, positively saturated inks. And because I cut the cardstock to the same size as the stencil, there's nowhere for the stencil to stick. It honestly doesn't matter. With this specific stencil set, I genuinely, I don't think it matters. I didn't stencil it perfectly. I'm not worried about my ink blending either. Like this first layer, is very perfect, but this is the first layer. There's all the other layers are going to go on top of it. But also, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I started, when I was doing this, I was kind of just flying by the seat of my pants and I was like, ooh, this might be a hot mess. I might have to redo all this. And then I was like, wait a minute. It's a snake plant. It doesn't need to be perfect. And, let's just go with it. Because like snake plants in real life, that was actually my very first house plant was a snake plant. I call them their gateway, their gateway house plants, because for the most part, technically you can't kill them, although I've heard some people have. Yeah, like you can just neglect these things and they just survive. Really, the worst thing you can do them is overwater them. I've had mine for I forget how many years now, and he's thriving. I love him. I love my little snake plant. He survives. And I now have about a dozen house plants. We will not talk about the ones that haven't made it. I have discovered that I need ones like this, like snake plants. There's basic ones that require the least amount of effort possible. That's how it needs to be for me. So anywho, I keep working my way through the greens. There, you can kind of see them on screen. I'll have the specific colors listed, but I worked just lightest to darkest with all of these layers. You could tape down the stencils as well. Like, as you can see, I was just holding it and just making a mess of things, but it just works. It just works. And I'm going to add splatter, of course, too, because y'all know, like, my clean and simple, it comes to a point. And for me, splatter all the things. So I just kept working my way. And then this final stencil was my darkest shade of green. And that's when it all comes together. You can get fun with it and, mix up the shades of green you use and all the things. Because if you look at like snake plants in real life, they come in many varieties. Every once in a while, I get that itch to get another one in different, slightly different colors than what I already own. But I've also run out of space with my little house plants that I have just like piled up on my dresser. That's literally where I keep them all because it's the best place where the light is. And anyway, after I was done blending, I'm going to use the coordinating wafer die. And this wafer die actually cuts like right on it. Either it does, or maybe it does leave a border and my stenciling was that bad. Because on the, I'm just looking at the packaging, because, it has the image on the packaging, and it's got a bit of a border around it, but mine doesn't. So take that as you will. And even if it has a border when you're done, if that's how it's supposed to be, you could just add a little bit extra ink if that bothers you. I don't mind the white border. Same with like wafer dies for coordinating stamps, that sort of thing. I don't mind it at all. Anyway, I die cut the images, set them aside. I now have just panels of A2 white cardstock, and I'm using, it's technically new, like it's part of the new release. This is the thank you text background stamp. This was part of Simon's product line in the past, but it was a red rubber cling foam stamp. I am not 100% sure why they're switching them to clear. Either or, they both work great. So I love red rubber and cling. I'm never gonna not. Clear stamps do take up less space, you know, is what it is. I use this one just face up. So I stamped it onto the white cardstock with Nocturne ink. As you can see, I was just working on it face up. You can stick this in your stamp platform, stamp it that way, especially if you want like really good results. But I was just doing it face up like I do, pressing the cardstock into it. After I did the black on the white cardstock, I cleaned the stamp really well. And then I'm stamping this onto the inside of my card bases. And my card bases are top folding A2 note cards, so 4¼ by 5½ inches. And these are Simon's green apple cardstock. And I stamped it with Perfection ink. And I used just a little post-it tape right at the score line there, so I didn't stamp past the score line on the card base. And then for my sentiments, I'm using, yet again, Kathy Zielski's Thank You Basics stamp set that I've lost count of how many times I've used this since it was released. The stamp set's not new. That came out a couple months ago. The coordinating wafer dies are new and make me very happy because I love me the coordinating wafer dies, especially for sentiments. If I've got to fussy cut something, fine, I'll do it, but I really don't like doing it for sentiments. It just irks me. So I stamped the sentiments on the kind of the remaining like scrap cardstock from all that stenciling I did. And I stamped the sentiments with the Nocturne ink. And then I'm going to die cut these with the coordinating wafer dies. Just like so. And then after I had those stamped, I don't know why I wasn't filming, but I stamped more sentiments from that set on the insides of the cards, and I'll just show that at the end. And then those panels that I had stamped the thank you text on with the black ink, I trimmed those down to like 3¾ by 5 inches. And then I'm putting some Big Mama foam tape on the back of these to just pop it up, give it a bit of dimension. And then once I've got the foam tape in place, I've shown this in a couple of videos now. It's another little new tool dealio that Simon has. It's the like adhesive lifter. I think that's what it's called. It's got little teeth on it and it helps lift off the release paper, especially if it's something you struggle with. This tool's a little game changer. So I removed the backing and then pop these onto my card bases. And then for the actual snake plant, I just hold that in place, flip over the card, and then I'm just using a pencil to mark where the edge of the card is. This just helps me to not put any adhesive past those lines so that one, I'm not wasting adhesive, but also it's annoying. It's annoying. So I then put the Big Mama foam tape on the back of this piece as well, just trimming it down where needed to fit into some of those more like little narrow areas. And then once I've got the foam tape in place, same thing, use the little tool to remove all the little backings to that. And then I can pop this onto the card base. And by doing that, I just take the card base, line it up with those pencil lines, like so, press it down. There we go. And then I just use the edges of the card to guide me on trimming off all the bits hanging off. And then splatter. Because of course, you could always skip the splatter. If splatter's not your thing, I get it. I like it. What can I say? And I know, I've gotten to the point now where when I don't add splatter, people ask if I'm feeling okay. Y'all, some days a card doesn't need it. I can admit that, you know, sometimes it's great not adding splatter. For me, it's to a point now where I almost can't not. Anyway, white gouache on my palette, watered it down. I have my cards in my splat box, and I use my fan brush to add a good healthy dose of the white splatter to both of these cards. I let that dry, and is one of the things I generally do is, especially if I'm going heavy-handed with the splatter, I let it dry, And then I go in with the next bit, which is black this time again. And because I don't want the splatter to mix. I've had that happen and it can just look a little weird. It's a little bit of a nitpicky thing on my end, but it doesn't take long to dry either, honestly. So I let that dry and then I added some black gouache to my palette, thinned that out with water, and then added not quite as much splatter with the black. Just a bit here and there. And then I hesitated and I looked at it and as usual I was like, oh, should I stop? No, I'm gonna add more. I like it. So adding the black splatter and then again, let that completely dry, washed out my brush, wiped off the palette, etc. And then I popped the sentiments into place with Big Mama foam tape as well. So technically it's a lot of foam tape, like all the layers have foam tape, but because it's the Big Mama foam tape, this stuff is so thin. It is the thinnest foam tape. I have not found any that is as thin as the Big Mama foam tape. They call it Big Mama because the roll is insanely enormous. And I love it. So anyway, my final little bit of embellishment was some black Pawsitively, Pawsitively Dazzling gems. I couldn't remember the next word. And the little container. I like my little shakery bits. Even though it's not a shaker card, I can just sit and shake these containers all day. Black Pawsitively Dazzling gems. Put a few of those onto each of these cards. Picked them up with my little embellishment wand, and then just adhered them into place with little dabs of craft tacky glue. And that finished them off. So, fairly simple. Could be, and like I said, they could be like any occasion. You could just use a different background and use a different sentiment, you know? And I don't know why. I didn't think I would like this stencil set so much. At first I was like, it's a little, but once I played with it and put it on the cards, I was like, okay, I really like this. And I love snake plants. They're just, I don't know what it is about them. So anyway, that was my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate you watching. Thumbs upping and commenting. Love that too. And I will see you all very soon in the next video. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in joining my Patreon community and supporting me, the link to my Patreon is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't, I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye!